So, what are the challenges that you foresee in the adoption of the 5G technology for industry? And of course, how are they being mitigated?
I think there's a general set of challenges that exist for any new technology or relatively new technology, and that is all the other competing priorities in the business. That the factory environment, has to be able to continue to operate with no degradation in terms of production volumes and quality and things like that. So it's like changing the engine on an airplane while it's in flight, right? It has to be able to be done in a way that mitigates risk and doesn't create too much downside risk. So there's going to be all that the competing priorities in the sense of how do we do this without disrupting everything else. So that's one area. The other area that is another behavioral, if you will, or general concern is the business case. Is how do we develop an understanding of what business value is going to be generated by this, because there's no baseline set of assumptions or reference data that are out there to say if you're going to do this with 5G connectivity or this with video analytics or this with machine health, what numbers can we rely upon to build off of so that we have a defensible business case. As more and more installations get deployed and that there's a better understanding of the overall value, we'll be gathering that information, but it doesn't necessarily exist today. So I think there's some concern about what data can we rely on, what assumptions can we make that can lead to that business case. Those are a couple of the general areas, if you will. I think some of the other concerns are with 5G is that misconception that, well, my factories are located in remote areas. By the time any carrier delivers 5G to that rural area, it's years from now, so I really don't have to worry about it. But with private cellular, that concern really goes away because that cellular network is dedicated to that facility. The property itself, it's not going to be designed or engineered to support the rest of the community nearby. It's going to be for the exclusive use of that customer. So that doesn't mean that we're going to have to go land a tower and equip it nearby with 5G radios. That's all going to be inside the customer's environment with a minimum of equipment still managed by us. So the customer doesn't have to become an expert at managing a cellular network. So once you peel those things away, Sharon, that's where customers tend to have that aha moment. Okay, this is something we actually can do, and start to break down some of those misconceptions. We're seeing that tipping point being realized over the last 6 to 12 months. And we're seeing an acceleration of interest and action in this area.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. So is there anything else that you think our audience should know when it comes to demystifying 5G for industry?
I think that there's two thoughts that I'd like to share with the group as far as that goes. One is recognizing that for the first time that option exists to a wired connection. When you consider the cost of running copper cabling to support industrial Ethernet environments, it's not only is it expensive, and not only is it limiting over time because of the inflexibility it introduces, but it also doesn't help an organization with their sustainability goals. If you consider that a precious metal like copper has to be so widely deployed to support that environment, to support a wired connection, if you could remove that, it also enhances the ESG goals of the organization. So there's a lot of incremental benefits to being able to pursue 5G and deploy it. The other is something that isn't widely shared at this point, but when you consider how human beings learn, we learn by visual means more readily, most people, than we do with textual or narrative information. If you consider that most of the information that's being shared on a factory floor today is in some way, it's numeric, it's textual, it's asking the operator to translate some information. That doesn't necessarily help with just-in-time learning. It doesn't help with sharing concepts. It doesn't help with problem solving and diagnosis and such. If you could get more visual technologies that are on the plant floor, it's going to make it a more attractive job for people. It will help with retention. It'll make it a more attractive job to help with recruiting. It will help with faster problem solving and collaboration with visual means. those technologies are emerging now between AR and VR and video analytics and digital twins and some of the concepts that are being introduced to tablets and even to HMI that's more visually oriented. That's going to transform how information is generated and exchanged and delivered to a factory floor environment. But guess what? A visual file is much more data intensive than a text file. It's a lot more bandwidth that's going up and down. So most environments don't have the network infrastructure to enable all of this video rich content to be generated or downloaded in their environments. So it will tax those networks to a degree that most organizations have been unwilling to take that next step because of their concerns about connectivity. We call it innovation in a drawer. There's no shortage of great ideas in these factory environments. It's just that the plant managers and directors are really reluctant to stress their network any more than it's already being stressed. That's where we see 5G being a game changer to enable all that innovation to come out of the drawer and to be activated.
Terrific.
Visual is the future.
Yeah, visual is definitely the future. Those are all really great points, and I really appreciate you helping us demystify the fears that go along with a new technology like this, a game-changing technology. So we definitely appreciate you being here.
Great, we're really excited about it. It's really making a difference, and it's changing the way our brand is being perceived in industry. So we couldn't be more optimistic about the future.
Terrific. Well, thank you again, Michael, for joining us today, and thank you for joining our talk today. And as always, stay curious.